Hello and welcome to episode 59 of the Panenka View podcast. Now, this is a Bundesliga podcast, and I have a very special guest with me tonight on the show. It's taken me a long time to approach them, but finally I have them on the show, and he's the president of FC Bayern Munich Mumbai, Mr. Jaideep Gandhi. It's a pleasure to have you, sir, finally. And Bayern's eighth title win, consecutive title win, 30 in total. How are you feeling at the moment?
Hey, hi Prasad, how are you doing? And first and foremost, pleasure is mine being on your show, on your podcast. Yeah, it's a fantastic win. I mean, we are quite thrilled, and it was a difficult start to the season, so that makes it a little more special. So in fact, I was watching the Thomas Muller live. He was doing a live podcast today during the day, and as I said, it was a tough start to the season. We started off well, and then the form tapered off dramatically, and we had to get rid of Niko Kovac, which was sad.
Yeah.
And Hansi Flick, he just managed to slip into the role, and he's been doing a fantastic job. So kudos to Hansi Flick.
Most definitely. So the match against Bremen was a tough one, to be honest. 3 points away from the title, and they didn't make it easy. And you had to have a lot of good individual performances, like it has been the story under Flick. And the Manuel Neuer save, the Lewandowski goal. What did you make of that game last night?
To be very honest, very disappointed with the final result because we beat Bremen 6-1 in the reverse fixture.
Yeah.
Bremen are fighting relegation.
Yeah.
And they're playing pathetic. To be very honest, they've been playing pathetic football. I've been watching their games. And although they won the relegation battle over the weekend with Paderborn, but been watching the previous games and they really were playing really poor football, which is a shame because Bremen has been a powerhouse of Bundesliga football. They won the Bundesliga in 2003, 2004. So it's a bit of a shame. It would be worse if they were actually to get relegated. But yes, yesterday they looked very motivated, like all the other teams are. Any weak teams, they start punching above their weight, and that's what Bremen did yesterday. They were defending well, defending in numbers, and we created quite a few chances actually, but we weren't able to convert. So when Lewandowski got the first goal, I remember immediately in the second half, Thomas Muller gave him a fantastic cross, and it seemed like a certain goal, and this guy, he just didn't connect with the ball, which was a surprise. But I guess everyone will settle for a 1-0 win and take the title. So happy with it.
True. Well, Jaideep, I have a lot to talk to you about. I mean, it's the eighth title. So if you look at the last decade, out of the 10, Bayern have won 8, and utter dominance. But there's one man we must start with, and he's the current manager of FC Bayern Munich, is Hansi Flick. He's completely changed the momentum around. He's brought back the fighting spirit in the team, the togetherness that is seen, which wasn't seen under Kovac. I mean, I could not believe my eyes when Frankfurt beat Bayern 5-1, to be very honest.
Yeah, and very true.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on Hansi Flick? And it's an internal solution, by the way, which is the best fit. Don't you agree?
Hansi Flick has been a Bayern player. He was a midfielder. He played a couple of seasons, if I'm not mistaken, in 89, 90, maybe 2-3 seasons he spent with Bayern. So he knows exactly how Bayern functions. He knows how Uli Hoeneß and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge and at that point of time even Franz Beckenbauer. So he knows the setup pretty well, having been a player. The big advantage Hansi Flick had was that the senior players, if you may call, the likes of Manuel Neuer, Boateng, Thomas Muller, Kimmich, all of them have played under Hansi Flick for the Die Mannschaft, for the German national team.
German national team,
From 2006 to 2014. So the players know him well. They obviously have a lot of respect for Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick himself did a fantastic job as an assistant trainer to Jogi Löw. After 2014, he became a I think he was a sporting director for the Mannschaft, and then eventually he came into as a assistant trainer. So all said and done, the players knew him very well. They had the complete respect for Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick knew the players inside out, and that's the big advantage. That worked brilliantly well. And I don't know, the last thing, being a German, someone who knows the league and the football so well. Nothing against Niko Kovac. Niko Kovac is a Bavarian himself, although he might be a Croatian, but very long innings with Bayern Munich, won a lot of honors with Bayern Munich, and then he managed Eintracht Frankfurt so well in the Bundesliga, winning the Pokal for Eintracht.
Yeah.
But what becomes difficult at a club like Bayern Munich is that you not only have to win, but you have to win beautifully. You have to play great football. You have to score a lot of goals. And that was the big problem with Niko Kovac. He was always a counter-attacking coach and a manager, His favorite setup was a 3-5-2, which I don't think he ever played that system at Bayern Munich. So that was the biggest drawback for Niko Kovac. But yes, Hansi Flick's done a fantastic job. So just keep our fingers crossed. We don't want a situation like Manchester United had under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where they had this tremendous run and then he was appointed as a manager and then things started going downhill, so that was something which we were worried about. But even after the new appointment or a permanent appointment, he's been doing a fab job. So that's off to Hans.
All right, great description there. And I personally have to tell you that I have been watching Bayern games after Hansi Flick took over, and since the lockdown, the German league coming back and nothing to watch, and I've always wanted to watch all the leagues, but great contribution from Hansi Flick overall, I must say, and the future looks very, very bright. But there's one more thing that I want to ask you, and that is the resurgence of Thomas Muller. I mean, who would have thought that he would go on to top the assist column? I mean, we've seen him score a lot of goals, being in the right position, going in the right position, but he's been the top assist maker. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, that's just mind-boggling actually, because Thomas Muller, I think, is in his 10th or 11th season at Bayern Munich, and yes, we have seen him score goals, we have seen him give assists, but these numbers are absolutely mind-boggling. And in fact, he should have got the 21st one, which we discussed a little while before when Lewandowski missed a header. But yes, he's been having a brilliant, and he's just been kind of, I'm thinking of the right word. It's been, as you said, resurgence for Thomas Muller. He's completely reinvented himself. He's completely motivated. See, that's the skill of the manager,
Yeah.
It's not only about tactics, it's about man management. And that is something he's been able to do brilliantly, not only with Thomas Muller, but even someone like Jerome Boateng, whom we thought his career is almost finished, before the start of the season. To be perfectly honest, I wanted Mats Hummels to remain at Bayern Munich, and I would have been very happy to see Jerome Boateng go, but it didn't happen. It was just the opposite. Hummels decided to call quits at Bayern, go back to Borussia Dortmund, and I was actually kicking myself that what are we doing with Boateng? And he's had such a brilliant season so far. So it's again all down to Hansi Flick. I guess God is in the details. He's managed to motivate the players. He's got them playing. Most important thing, I think, he's got them enjoying football. That is the most important thing.
Yeah. The togetherness is back. The fighting spirit is back. To be very honest, we know Bayern love to score goals, but even with that one goal lead, they can hold on to that lead, and that's what I've seen. But hold on to that thought and hold on to the next question. I mean, if many of my friends who watch Bayern Munich said, they were doubting Leon Goretzka as well. But he, since the restart, he's been a revelation. I should say he's made that midfield position his own with Kimmich in that pivot, and he's bulked up. He's doing the attacking part as well, the defensive part as well. The ball recoveries are there. Again, kudos to Hansi Flick. What do you have to say on Leon Goretzka?
Leon Goretzka comes closest to my favorite player in the German team and the Bayern Munich team, and that is Michael Ballack.
Oh, wow.
Every time I watch Leon Goretzka, he's got the physicality, as you have noticed. He is bulked up. Left foot, right foot, header. He can defend. He's got a good speed, good recovery, good tackles, complete all-round player. And yes, it just needed to be slotted in, in a right system. And that's what Hansi Flick has managed to do, making him play in a double pivot with Joshua Kimmich. And he just plays slightly ahead of Craig Kimmich. So, he plays between the lines. So he's not only able to defend, he's able to tackle, he's able to convert defense into attack. And yes, he's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Jaideep?
And this is just the beginning. I think we have just scratched the surface of Leon Goretzka.
Yeah.
He's going to be phenomenal.
Definitely. We can go about all the 11 players here, Jaideep, and it won't end because they have been magnificent. I have no other words. But one more thing that I would like to bring up is, you have the likes of Pavard and Coman and Gnabry. You have Zirkzee, who's touted to be a very good player and who's going to make an impact. Tell me about this Leroy Sané rumor that's coming up. Is he on his way to Bayern Munich?
Leroy Sané, very difficult to understand. Sometimes you read all kinds of reports and very, very difficult to really gauge. But we know what happened when he was dead serious of coming and Pep Guardiola made him play that stupid match, which was of no consequence, and then he injured himself. And that was really sad because that was a time when the move would have actually happened. So much of time has passed by and I don't know whether he still wants to leave. The only big advantage we have now with Leroy Sané is two things. Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, if you notice, have slightly tapered off. Their form has gone down. So that is one reason for Leroy Sané probably to leave. Second big, huge reason could be, we'll come to know in the first week of July, and that is the UEFA sanction. If Man City are actually banned for a season or 2 seasons in Champions League football, 100% Leroy Sané will be on his way. Forget Leroy Sané, there will be a lot of senior players who will be leaving Manchester City. So, yeah, we're just keeping our fingers crossed because it's just an ongoing thing and it's a little irritating, no? Because we've not come to any conclusion. So we can just keep our fingers crossed on Leroy Sané.
Most definitely. And there are a couple of more things that we need to discuss, and one of them is the sensational season that Robert Lewandowski is having. I mean, we are Ronaldo and Messi, where 50 goals is a basic thing. I mean, it's a norm. And the guy has gone on to score 45, and there are still a lot of games left. I mean, even if there are 2 or 3 left in the Bundesliga, and there are still Champions League games left. We all are 3-0 up against Chelsea. What do you have to say about Lewandowski and the striker he's been throughout his career at Bayern as well?
See, Robert Lewandowski is a top striker, no doubt about it. Arguably the best striker right now in world football, probably with Sergio Aguero and maybe Aubameyang, and very few names you can take actually. If you're talking about an out-and-out number 9, then Lewandowski has to be among the top 300%. The problem with Lewandowski is that he's playing in Bundesliga. So the Bundesliga is a highly underrated league. All right, nobody takes us seriously. Bayern Munich winning 8 successive Bundesliga title for people who don't follow Bundesliga is a boring league. They are called a farmers league. But now on the flip side, if you were to check the Champions League top goal scorers, Lewandowski is at 11 and Erling Haaland is with 10 goals. Both from the Bundesliga. So I think that stat is enough to shut up people who think this is a farmers league because they've been performing in Europe. So, I mean, even with Lewandowski, to a certain extent, the same thing that's happened with Muller and Boateng. Again, completely re-energized, revitalized, completely motivated. I remember Lewandowski a couple of seasons back, he'd actually put on a little weight. And in fact, I was grumbling on our group and on discussions that he slowed down, looked a little sluggish, didn't look as sharp. But right now he's absolutely at the top of his game, and physically is like a beast. And I mean, the very, very best out there. You
Correct.
compare him with
Correct, but
whoever, like.
and look at the way we've gone about discussing the midfield and the strikers. We've also discussed the transfer rumor, 8 Bundesliga titles in a row, and
Yeah,
so just now, a few hours back, Champions League return was announced, and
right.
apparently the second legs of the last 16 are going to be played, and then it's going to be a one-legged one game,
Yeah, it's going to be a knockout.
yeah,
It
for
will be a
knockout from
knockout.
the quarterfinal,
Yeah,
semis, and
yeah,
the finals. Now you have a DFB Pokal final against Leverkusen, which is on the 4th of July. So
right.
a potential chance at a double or a treble, and we all remember Jupp Heynckes' brilliant season. I personally followed that 2012, 2013, where he all went on to win all three, the treble. Is there a chance like that now in 2020?
Uh, Prasad, to be perfectly honest, double is given. If you don't win the double at Bayern Munich, then it's a disaster.
I agree with that.
Finishing second is a disaster. Just winning the Bundesliga is a semi-disaster. So Champions League is what it is all about. We all look forward to it. Every year we are in with a shout. Last season probably we got knocked out in the round of 16. But before that we had the Pep Guardiola jinx, 3 seasons running in semi-finals,
Oh,
which is like,
yeah.
that is the least. Semi-finals is the least. For many a club, say if Arsenal made it to the semi-finals, they probably might have a parade. I'm sorry, I know you're a Arsenal fan. I'm not trying to rub it in. I'm
Oh,
not
no,
trying to
no.
rub it in.
Oh, no,
But
no.
I'm just saying, because the expectations are so very high,
I know.
And so the least, I mean, we are, and the fact that we are playing well, the only biggest drawback for us is going to be that our season ends on 4th of July, which is going to be the Pokal finals.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned,
Champions
the
League.
Champions League round of 16, the second leg starts only on the 4th of August, did
Yeah,
you say?
7th of August, August first week.
Yeah,
7th
so
of
now, so that's going to be the biggest challenge for Hansi Flick, because 1 month of no competitive football, I guess they will take a break, maybe a week, 10 days break. And then again, it will be like a pre-season. And that's going to be the biggest drawback for Bayern Munich, that we are going to lose the momentum. Unlike the English teams, unlike the Spanish team, and actually, according to me now, the hot favorites are going to be one of the Italian teams, because the Italian league ends, if I'm not mistaken, on the 3rd of August.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They end on 3rd of August. Juventus has to play Lyon. They are trailing, I think, by 1 goal.
Yeah.
So they have to play the reverse fixture. Napoli has to play the reverse fixture with Barcelona.
Yeah.
And they are the teams which will have the momentum, because they've been playing the Serie A. It goes both ways. There could be injuries also happening, because they're going to be playing so many fixtures. But, if they can keep the squad fit, I guess the Italians are going to be favorite, either Juventus or Napoli, both very, very good teams. So they are the teams who will be really having the momentum.
Definitely, we can connect as well at that time, to see what's
100%.
happening.
It would be a pleasure if you can get some other Champions League fans,
Yeah, most definitely.
fans of the teams that are alive. It would be good fun to discuss the possibility.
Definitely. I'm going to be very honest with you, and I'm very thankful that you've given us the time on the podcast.
Don't be funny, Prasad. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, and to be very honest, this is the People's Podcast, by the way. So you can always, I'm just one text away from inviting you on the podcast.
No, anytime. It's a pleasure. And as you said, yeah, people like to give their views. Everyone has an opinion.
Yep.
If you are in Kolkata, every nook and corner, right from the chaiwala to the postman to the milkman, everyone would be discussing like how we are discussing right now. For us, it's a little niche and a little elite in Mumbai. But if you were in Kolkata, you could be doing a podcast every hour.
Yeah, I've done a lot of them with the East Bengal and Mohan Bagan fans.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, but I am very delighted, because I have the president of FC Bayern Mumbai here, And,
My pleasure.
it would be a pleasure to have other members as well on the podcast. So do put out a word. Also, before we go and before we end, a huge shout out to my friend Shrix Purohit, who's been doing some fabulous work on the art side. He's been creating our thumbnails, and do follow his Instagram page, Shrix Makes Stuff, which will be available in the link below. So once again, thank you so much, Jaideep, for your time. And like I always do at the end, this is your host Prasad signing out with Jaideep on this episode of the Pan and Kavyu podcast.